Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Digital Bytes, your go-to source for the latest in Pure Storage's innovations. Now, if there's one universal truth in the world of enterprise storage, it's that upgrades can be a real headache. Between downtime, complex procedures, and the constant juggling act to align schedules, well, it's enough to make anybody dread the upgrade process. But alleviating these issues has been Pure Storage's mission. From day one, we've championed simple, non-disruptive upgrades. And now we're taking it a step further by putting the power of upgrades in your hands, making them not just painless, but entirely on your own terms. Now, we've talked about self-service upgrades before on this series, and today we're showing you how to extend these capabilities for your ActiveClusters. So, let's get into it. If you're new to Pure Storage or are unfamiliar with how we do upgrades, well, we've traditionally offered support-assisted upgrades. And this is where you schedule time with our support engineers and they run through the process with you. It's a great offering and can certainly instill confidence knowing that support is right there with you while you non-disruptively upgrade your storage array. But this, of course, comes with the need to align our schedule with your upgrade window, and well, that can be a bit of a pain. But on the other hand, self-service upgrades offer a flexible option for you to upgrade your storage, again, non-disruptively, at any time. And just like our support-assisted upgrades, the entire process is handled for you. Just this time through advanced automation, including health checks, downloading the binaries, and performing the upgrade without taking your array offline. It's magic. Now, if you're using FlashArray with ActiveCluster for active-active replication, then you're already familiar with its robustness. But until now, upgrading these arrays meant coordinating with Pure support. But what if that was no longer the case? Well, if you're running Purity 631 or newer, and if you're only running ActiveCluster between two arrays, then this opens the door for self-service upgrades. Just make sure that both arrays have Phone Home and the Pure Edge service enabled, and have the Purity FA upgrade agent installed. We've covered all of that before in this video right up here. Now with these prerequisites in place, log into Pure One at pure1.purestorage.com. If you haven't already, then enable step-up authentication by clicking on your account and going to Account Security. And with those prerequisites out of the way, we can go into the software lifecycle page here in Pure One, and I can see my ActiveCluster. Now I know it's an ActiveCluster because of this connecting line between the two arrays. Now Pure One is showing me that both arrays are running Purity version 6.5.3, and it's recommending that we upgrade to 6.6.4. Now what's driving these recommendations? Well, that's actually being driven by the lifecycle policy, and you can see here that these arrays have adopted the proactive lifecycle policy. So what are the lifecycle policies? Well, let's go up here and compare our options. And on one end of the spectrum, we have the essential policy. And this is going to recommend that we upgrade Purity only when our existing version of Purity is either end of life or if there are critical security vulnerabilities that need to be patched. Now on the other end of the spectrum is proactive, so this is going to recommend the latest versions of Purity so we can take advantage of the latest features that Pure has put out. And then right in the middle is the creatively named balanced policy. And so this is going to recommend our latest enterprise-ready and long-life releases of the Purity OS. And most of our customers adopt the balanced policy anyways. Sure, you're not going to be on the bleeding edge of all the latest features, but they will eventually get rolled up into the long-life releases. Plus, this also means there's going to be fewer upgrades. And I can change the policy for one or more arrays through the Action menu up here, or I can just select the ActiveCluster and click on Change Lifecycle Policy. So here I could change both arrays from proactive to, say, balanced. But for the sake of this demo, we're going to leave it at proactive. So that's the nuts and bolts behind how Pure One makes these recommendations. Now let's jump into a health check. Now I've already run a health check here, but let's run a new one. And all we need to do is tell Pure One what version of Purity we want to upgrade to. So I'm going to select 6.6.4 here, and then we can start the check. And this is going to bring us to the first of several two-factor authentication checks. So I'm actually using Authy as my two-factor token generator, but you could also use the Google Authenticator or any other authenticator app that you prefer. So with my code here, I'm going to go ahead and verify this, and then we're going to perform the health check. And these health checks are going to take a little bit of time to run, but when they're complete, we can go ahead and we can review the results for both of our arrays. Now, this is checking for things like hardware, software, configuration issues that have caused problems with upgrades in the past. In fact, this is the same checklist that we use for our support-assisted upgrades. I could even export these reports and send them to myself for use later, but I would actually hold off on that until the upgrade is complete. I'll show you that in just a little bit. And if there are any issues, you can actually open up a support case right from within here. But in this case, both of our arrays are healthy, so let's continue to download the binaries onto both arrays. And we're going to accept the EULA, and then we've got another two-factor authentication here. So let me just enter the token and verify this. And now we can continue to download the binaries to both of our arrays. Now, if you're curious like me and want to know what's in these packages, well, you can click here and we can see, of course, there's the Purity software, there's upgrades, there's security patches, Aloha, which we use for the upgrade itself, some signatures. There's a lot of great stuff in here. Now, with the binaries downloaded and staged on both arrays, we can actually go ahead and initiate the installation process, which, guess what, takes another two-factor token. So we'll enter that here, verify it, and now we're going to perform the installation. Now, this installation happens sequentially, meaning we only perform the upgrade on one controller at a time. And where this is a single hop upgrade, meaning we're upgrading directly from 653 to 664 without any intermediate upgrade steps, we can expect this to take between 2 to 3 hours to complete. And so the first step here is to run another pre-check, and this is just to make absolutely certain we are ready to go. And I'd highly recommend that you view the results of all of these checks. And so now we're going to install Purity OS on the secondary controller. It's going to reboot that controller, and then it's going to prompt us to fail over. And at this point, once we do fail over, the array is going to be running 6.6.4. And so this process will repeat itself for the new secondary controller, and once that's done, then our first array will be upgraded. Following the first array upgrade, the second array happens with minimal user interaction in order to minimize the amount of time that both arrays are running different versions of Purity. And once again, we're going to perform pre-checks, and this is going to be the last step that is going to require manual interaction. So again, review the results of this check and proceed with the upgrade. Again, before we make any changes to this, we're going to need another authentication token. And then we can proceed to install Purity on the second array. And this is really just rinse and repeat of what we did for the first array. We're going to install Purity on the secondary controller, fail everything over, and then install on the new secondary controller. And with that, we've upgraded both of our arrays to Purity 664 without impacting any production workloads. Now, if I want to see some more information about this upgrade process, I can just go in here. I can see the start and end time for the upgrades of each of the storage arrays, as well as all of our health checks throughout the entire process. So here's where I would go through, view the results, and export each of these reports that I can maybe use for generating an upgrade report to file away for this upgrade. So as you can see, this self-service approach not only saves time, but significantly boosts your operational flexibility by upgrading on your schedule without the need to align with external support teams. It's really just all about making your storage infrastructure more resilient and responsive to your needs. So if you're ready to take control of your flash array upgrades, log into Pure One and see how simple enterprise storage upgrades can be. Well, everybody, that's going to about wrap things up for this episode. Be sure to subscribe for more insights into making the most of your Pure storage. And until I see you in the next episode, stay pure.